You know, when you think about Australian wildlife, the bare-nosed wombat probably pops into your head. They're these sturdy, nocturnal marsupials, and they're famous for one thing more than anything else, digging these incredible, complex burrows.
I mean, they're a total Australian icon, a true master digger. But here's the thing, because so much of their life happens underground, their world has always been a bit of a mystery. We just don't get to see what's going on in their homes.
So that's the big question, isn't it? What is really going on inside those burrows? Well, it turns out they're hiding some pretty big secrets, and today we're going to dig them up. So how do you find out what's happening in a secret underground world? Well, you start an investigation. Scientists had to get clever and use some modern tech to get a peek inside. To get answers, researchers went right to the source. They set up shop in the Emirates' Wolgan Valley Conservation Reserve, this beautiful, protected area just west of Sydney. It's the perfect place to see wombats just doing their thing, completely in their natural habitat.
So how'd they pull it off? It was actually a pretty cool and straightforward plan. First, they found 18 active wombat burrows. Then they set up infrared cameras near every single entrance. They let them roll for 7 straight nights. And then came the hard part, sifting through thousands of images to ID every single animal that showed up.
And the whole point was to be totally invisible. Using those infrared cameras meant they could record all the comings and goings without bothering the animals at all. It was basically the ultimate wildlife stakeout. All right, so the cameras were rolling, the data was in, and what they found was a total revelation. It was not a quiet neighborhood. In fact, it was a surprisingly crowded one. Okay, get ready for this. The cameras caught 10 different species visiting these wombat burrows. This wasn't just a wombat's private home. It was a bustling community hub. And check out this guest list. We're talking red-necked wallabies, eastern gray kangaroos, brush-tailed possums, European rabbits, even predators like feral cats and red foxes were stopping by. Oh, and rodents and a bunch of different birds too. It was like the busiest piece of real estate in the entire bush. But this is where it gets really wild. In the woodland areas, the researchers found that European rabbits were actually caught on camera more often at the burrows than the wombats themselves. Can you believe that? The tenants were officially outnumbering the landlords. And if you need a visual, just look at this chart. It lays out the sightings in that woodland habitat. And you can see that bar for the rabbits just completely towers over the wombat bar. This wasn't just a one-time thing. These rabbits were regulars. And believe it or not, the party doesn't stop there. While they didn't catch them this time around, researchers have also spotted reptiles like lace monitors and red-bellied black snakes using the burrows at other times. Clearly, these underground homes have some serious curb appeal. Okay, so we know who was visiting. Now for the really interesting part, the why. What's the motive? Why are all these different animals crashing at the wombat's place? It's a really good question when you think about it. I mean, what could possibly bring such a diverse crowd? Predators, prey, big herbivores, tiny birds, all to the exact same location. Well, this table breaks it down for us. For predators like cats and foxes, it was a great spot for hunting. For rabbits and rodents, it was a safe place to shelter and nest. But then you look at the macropods, the kangaroos and wallabies. One of their reasons is listed as rusting, and this other fascinating thing called geophagy. Look, some of these reasons make perfect sense. Of course, animals need shelter. But that last one, geophagia, that one really stood out to the researchers as something special. So what on earth is geophagy? It's pretty simple, actually. It's the act of deliberately eating soil. Yeah, and animals probably do it to get essential minerals that they just can't find in their normal plant-based diet. Think of it like a natural vitamin supplement. And this isn't just a guess, by the way. The researchers saw it with their own eyes. They noted that kangaroos and wallabies were seen sniffing and likely eating the fresh soil that wombats had just dug up and kicked out of the entrance. They were taking advantage of the wombats' excavation work to get their minerals. So when you put all these pieces together, you realize these burrows are so much more than just holes in the ground. And that brings us to the big picture, the wombat's true, unsung role as an ecosystem engineer. You see, a wombat burrow isn't just a home. It is a community hub. It's a shelter from predators, it's a hunting ground for some, a nursery for others, a foraging spot for birds,
And as we just learned, it's even a mineral lick for kangaroos.
And there's a scientific name for an animal that does all this: an ecosystem engineer. It's any creature that creates or seriously changes a habitat. And by doing that, they completely change the game for all the other species living there.
So just think about the wombat's impact. Their digging provides critical shelter for so many other animals. It churns up the soil, keeping it healthy. It creates brand new opportunities for hunters and for foragers. All of this work directly supports and boosts the local biodiversity.
And that's the real takeaway here. By doing something as simple as digging a home for itself, the humble wombat becomes an absolute cornerstone of its entire ecosystem. It's so much more than just a cute marsupial. It's an essential architect of its environment. And that leaves us with one last thing to chew on. If one single wombat's home can be this important, this connected to so many other lives, what other hidden connections are we totally missing in the natural world? What other secret roles are being played out right under our noses that we haven't even discovered yet?